Hello everyone, I'm Miguel Sanchez, and welcome to the World Blocks. I know but you got a long ways to have fun with you guys, and to share the spread and joy, and share the love with you guys. Spreading the love to all of you this holiday season, it's a whole lot of fun. So thank you for coming and welcome to the World of Blocks. We're about to get started with Chapter 4 of Mr. Numbers and Little Letters in a moment, but first, if you haven't seen our previous chapter, which was Chapter 3, A Ghost of Nothing, I'll leave a link to it on the top right corner of the screen, so you can watch it whenever you want. And now we're out of the way, I think we're ready for this, so if you're ready, good, then let's get started, here we go. So, this is Mr. Numbers and Little Letters, and we continue with Chapter 4, The Big Race. So, thank you for coming, welcome to the show. Happy to have you on board. So, yeah. Believe it or not, we're going to have a lot of fun. Besides, Mr. Numbers and Little Letters is the final story of the World of Blocks in 2020. But there will be more stories to come in 2021, so please stay tuned. In the meantime, though, let's begin. Here we go. But before we do, credit goes out to Infinite Sanity Pit on DDR. He was the one who created all of this, not me. It was him. So thank you, Infinite Sanity Pit, for the creation of the series. If you want to go check out his page, I'll leave it down below in the video description. So thank you, Infinite Sanity Pit. You rock. One final thing. Warning, Learning Blocks is the property of Blue Suit Animation Studios, Outblocks Limited, and the BBC, which of course, yes, is the British Broadcasting Corporation, while Mr. Man, Little Miss is the property of Roger Hargraves and Sanrio, the current owner of the franchise. No copyright infringement is intended, I own nothing, you have been warned. Also, this story was inspired by DWTD and HTF XD's drawings of the Learning Blocks as Mr. Man and Little Misses. Lucy, as the person who got me into Learning Blocks, I hope you enjoy this. So that's pretty much it, and now without further ado, sit back and enjoy the story, everyone! The World of Blocks, Mr. Numbers and Little Letters, Chapter 4, The Big Race. While the Blocks tried to focus on the important task at hand, they couldn't help but be distracted by everything in this new world, particularly the interesting locals. However, said locals kept asking the newcomers a lot of questions, which they really didn't want, as one slip-up could lead to the truth getting out. After all, if humans would be so willing to lock up and experiment on the blocks, what would happen if this world knew about Nvidia? 4, 9, 16, and 25 were not taking this whole situation as well. The poor squares were huddled together, horrified by all the round creatures that practically sobbing over the fact that their friends had become round themselves. Squirry, who had fallen into this world, become a dog, nuzzled her trembling owner in comfort. Some blocks were faring from way better. For example, 13 soon found that he did not split into a 10 and 3 when somebody said his name, leaning to him, repeating the word out loud in glee, confusing several Mr. Men and Little Misses nearby. There was also the fact that 4 had no risk of splitting into the terrible 2s, which was the only good thing he could say about being in this world. 18 was greatly distressed when he realized that he couldn't fly with his rays anymore, but to his relief, he found that he could now run very fast, and he and V, whose alliance was Mr. Vroom, sped around Dillydale trying to find Antonati. Their speed soon caught the attention of a certain triangular Mr. Man. He used his own super speed to catch up to the duo, which surprised them so much they stopped in their tracks. Whoa! Who are you? Asked V. I'm Mr. Rush! Exclaimed the purple Mr. Man. I'm supposed to be the fastest Mr. Man. Oh, really? That familiar feeling of competitiveness was seeping into 18, and V could feel it too. Why don't we test that? XXX. When it was announced that Mr. Rush, Mr. 18, and Mr. Vroom would be having a race around Dillydale, 12 was not pleased. We're supposed to be looking for Antonati so this world doesn't get consumed by ours. She scolded her brother. But there's no time for racing, 18 scoffed. Relax, sis. With our speed, this will be over before you know it. And besides, the others are still on the hunt. Out of all the blocks who had come to Dillydale, 18 was the most relaxed about the situation, reasoning that Antonati would be caught very soon. After all, he'd been so easy to defeat in the past. A few minutes later, it was time for the race. 18V and Mr. Rush all positioned themselves at the starting line, and Mr. Noisy was the announcer. On your marks! He shouted through his megaphone, making a few people wince at the volume. Get set! Go! The three Mr. Men were off. going at super speed and managing to keep up with each other. They passed by many locations throughout Dillydale, with the end goal being the park. There were a few points when 18 forgot about his limitations and tried to start up his race, but quickly remembered that he was earthbound. As the Mr. Men neared the park, they started bumping into each other a little, reminding AT&V of their very first race. Despite this, the trio laughed into light, clearly having a great time going so fast. However, when a vortex opened up on the path ahead of them, all three had to avoid it. With V and Mr. Rush swerving to the side, 18 chose to leap over the vortex. His proximity to it triggered a reaction. Without warning, he suddenly felt himself blasting straight into the park, startling his opponents. When 18 crossed the finish line, he expected to be greeted with cheers, but instead he was met with expressions of shock. "Ah, yes, I won! Wait, what's wrong?" 18 was confused until 12 stepped forward, looking horrified. 18, she whispered. "You just used your raise." 18's eyes widened. "Oh, how did that happen?" He gave a nervous smile as the crowd murmured among themselves. 12 decided to pull her brother away from the area, now more desperate than before, to find Atonati and leave this world. V and Mr. Rush were at the park's entrance, with Mr. Rush wanting answers. How did he do that? Some rays of light came out of his back. He flew straight to the finish line. He flew. The two glanced back at the vortex just in time to see it coming, and V tried his best to shrug the incident off. Maybe it was because of that weird vortex thing we just saw. Where did it even come from? I don't know. V lied. Let's just be very careful in case another one pops up. Okay. Okay. Mr. Rush was bad at being careful, but if the vortex was able to do that to Mr. 18, what else could it be capable of? After everyone had left the park, Mr. Clever stuck around, deep in thought. He sought the vortex that had appeared in the middle of the road, and deduced that it must have had something to do with the strange frequencies his computer had been detecting. But if the vortexes really were cropping around Dillydale, then could the newcomers have come here through them? If those vortexes lead to another universe entirely, then perhaps the newcomers were originally Mr. Men and Little Misses. It would explain quite a lot about them. The sun was starting to inch its way downwards, but there was no way Mr. Clever would be sleeping well tonight with all these thoughts and questions in his brain. He decided to do some snooping around the park, hoping he'd find at least one clue. Soon he noticed something glowing behind a bush, and parted it to discover a vortex at the base of a tree. He was a bit scared to be near this thing, considering what he seemed to do to Mr. 18, but it didn't seem to be affecting him at all. Perhaps the vortexes only had an effect on those who had come out of them. He curiously reached towards the swirling portal, and in a moment of boldness stuck his hand inside of it. He drew back when he saw what his hand looked like inside the vortex, but put it back in just to check again. His fingers were gone, replaced by a rounded stub. It was such a strange sensation, but it confirmed that the Mr. Men and Little Misses who had arrived in Dillydale through these vortexes were indeed a different species. Now all he needed to figure out why they were really after the Golden Infinity. 6. The sun had barely made it down to the horizon, but Atonati was instructed to Terrible Twos to get right to sleep. "Don't need your energy for tomorrow," he explained. "I have a very important task for both of you." His henchman listened intently as he continued. I need you to get rid of Autoblock NX before I make my move. Subdue and capture them, and make sure they're out of Dillydale while I'm taking over. Get it, boss! Terrible 2 Blue saluted. "We won't let you down on this, and if we do, there'll still be no match for the power of the Golden Infinity," added Terrible 2 Purple, which earned him a glare from his twin. Don't you dare suggest that we might fail. I mean, have we ever went before? Terrible 2 purple at a point. But still, this time will be different. For Antonari, now, had the ultimate power. Starting tomorrow, everybody in both worlds will be submitting to him. To be continued. Guys, that's it, it's over! Oh my gosh, that's the end of Chapter 4 of Mr. Numbers and Little Letters, but we still got more coming your way tomorrow, so stay tuned tomorrow for Chapter 5, which is going to be a good one, so please stay tuned. In the meantime, thank you so much for watching this edition of The World of Blocks. We got more coming your way, including Moshi Monsters Biography and Civic Origins. 2 more videos to get through, and then we're done for the night. But with that being said, I want to thank you all for watching. You have a great rest of your day, and stay tuned for lots of great content later on. I'm Miguel Sanchez, yourself, and I will see you next time on The World of Blocks. Join me tomorrow for more technical action as Mr. Numbers and Little Letters continues tomorrow with Chapter 5, Technical Action. So keep an eye out for that. Hope you're ready for this. You do not want to miss any of that as their adventures in Dilly Dale continue tomorrow on Mr. Numbers and Little Letters. So we'll see you tomorrow for Chapter 5, Technical Action on The World of Blocks. Until then, I'm Miguel Sanchez, reminding you to please remember to leave a like, share this video with your friends. That's right, share this video with your friends, leave a comment down below, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Also, turn on notifications to not miss a new video. Please subscribe with notifications turned on to not miss another new video from me as we're on the road to 500 subscribers. Thank you for watching. Great days must come to an end. I want to thank you all for tuning in. I'm Miguel Sanchez. We'll see you tomorrow with another episode of World of Blocks. For now, thanks for watching, like, favorite, subscribe. See you guys in another video. Laters!